Hello everybody and welcome back for the weekly VR news, where I break down everything going on in the VR industry, prepare you for this week's new VR game releases, and then finally focus in on a few major stories. Things just keep getting better and better for VR gamers, as today we have exciting new first impressions to go over, release dates for some highly anticipated games, brand new game announcements and updates, but all of this is just the tip of the iceberg, as things are really heating up with both the Upload VR showcase this week, and Meta finally getting some true competition from Apple. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor Kiwi Design. They currently make my favorite Quest 2 Elite strap, which comes in multiple different versions. You can add an extra battery pack, high quality headphones, or even both. They also have other products like Valve Index style hand straps, and they just introduced a brand new RGB stand. Your controllers and headset magnetically connect. There's a charging indicator so you'll know when your headset's ready to go, and there's plenty of different RGB color options available. There's a link to Kiwi Design down in the description, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support this channel. Okay, so let's start things off like normal with my first impressions of some newly released games. First up is the Smash Brothers melee style fighter Quantaar. Quantaar is currently free to play, and I highly recommend it. While the combat's definitely not as refined as something like Smash Brothers, it's still an absolute blast to play. Works extremely well in VR, especially with the added nuance of you, the observer, actually being part of the combat, allowing you to throw weapons into the battlefield or just distract your opponents. There's also an excellent array of different characters that all feel unique, plus there's daily rewards and tons of unlockables that keep you coming back time and time again. So go ahead and check this game out right now, because after all it is free and you have nothing to lose. Now another new release title that I was really excited for unfortunately failed to impress. For some reason, I'm really suffering to get into Undead Citadel. A dark and gritty action-adventure title with physics-based combat is right up my alley, but that most important aspect right there, the physical combat, lacks a true sense of impact. You could see me in the video getting frustrated and swinging with absolutely no effort to see how the game responds. Now I will give this title another try and report back if my opinion changes, but as it stands right now, I'm just not feeling this game. Now in other news, I've been hard at work testing a Pimax crystal, and I will have a video up later this week where I'm joined by Sadly It's Bradley, so if you're interested in checking that out, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications on. Now moving on to new titles releasing this week, it's a short but sweet list. First up is the ultra-realistic, highly anticipated racing title Formula 1 2023. This officially licensed game is designed to be as authentic as possible, push graphics to the next level, and offer up a ton of replayability by including a full story mode campaign, plenty of unlockables, and online PvP. So if you're a racing fan looking for a new VR title, go ahead and check out F1 23. But if you're a sucker for nostalgia, we have Pixel Ripped 1978. This time the studio has teamed up with Atari, and that Inception-style game-within-a-game aspect will go even further as you take on the role of a developer who needs to physically go inside of her own games in order to debug them. For the Atari fans out there, there'll be plenty of familiar characters and a brand new way to experience retro classics. But if Pixel Ripped isn't for you, let's move on to some newly announced titles that are listed as coming soon. First up is the VR mixed reality experience Monstrorama, narrated by Andy Serkis, the actor who's been in numerous films and voiced Gollum from the Lord of the Rings series. He'll be taking on the role of the Collector and guiding you through his museum of monstrous creatures. Your journey will have you getting up close and personal with the Kraken, a vampire, and even a parasite that'll feed off of your fear. Overall, this looks like a truly unique experience, so if you're someone who enjoys VR storytelling, go ahead and put this game on your list. But if you prefer to experience an escape room with your friends, Escape Simulator is also coming in the near future. Escape Simulator originally released back in 2021 on flat screen and received overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It's now been rebuilt from the ground up as a VR title that you can experience with up to 8 players. Now you get to explore these rooms in a whole new way and go around physically picking up objects and inspecting them. There's 25 escape rooms that were made in collaboration with real-world escape room designers, but after you play through those, there's over 3,000 that have been developed by the community. So the Steam Workshop integration pretty much offers up unlimited gameplay. Now, I've never been interested in experiencing an escape room, but I think this title might be changing my mind. But overall, I'm a sucker for blood, guts, and fast-paced action, and that's why I was happy to see the official release date for Hellsweeper, plus the announcement of a free demo coming soon. From the developers of the fast-paced classic title Seirento, this time they're pushing the action even further and will be battling the minions of hell. There's 18 separate maps to play through, both roguelike and sandbox modes, plus a huge array of weapons, skills, power-ups, and cosmetics to unlock. Now, I was already excited for this game, but their new trailer looks absolutely amazing, putting this title near the top of my most anticipated games. Our next release date announcement is right above it though, and that's Crossfire Sierra Squad. We now know that this action-packed shooter with explosions that would make Michael Bay jealous will be available this August. There's 50 missions that can be played in both single-player or two-player co-op, 13 single-player campaign missions, and a 4-person horde mode. You'll be mowing down enemies with 39 different weapons, including pistols, rifles, throwables, and even some mounted heavy artillery. So if you're looking for a title to show off some fast-paced VR shooter gameplay, Sierra Squad is going to bring the action. Now, if you're not looking to purchase any new games right now, we have some great updates to existing titles, starting with Bait. This free-to-play fishing title now has the Treasure Hunters update. It includes the Daily Catch, which are new quests that'll be available every single day that reward you with unique prizes. There's a new Shipwreck Shore location, and finally the Treasure Hunter gameplay mode, which has you fishing to find as many valuable items as you can before the time runs out. So if you're already a fan of Bait or never tried it before, here's one new reason to go jump into it. Now, we also have the 1-year anniversary update from Mothergunship Forge. This truly unique roguelike shooter is introducing the Fiery Fist gameplay mode, which will have you punching your way through enemies rather than shooting them. There's a brand new headquarters, 19 new gun parts, the ability to suspend multiplayer runs and come back to them later, 7 new multiplayer achievements, and a wide array of gameplay fixes. Mothergunship Forge is a fantastic casual shooter that I hold in very high regards, just like Space Pirate Trainer, and I feel it just never got the respect that it deserves. Unlike Walkabout Mini Golf, which is well respected by the entire VR community. This game has put out yet another course, and this time it's themed off of Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. So if you ever wanted to mini golf your way through exotic underground caverns, well, now you can. But if by some chance you're sick about Walkabout Mini Golf and you're looking for some new games to play, well, I'm sure the Upload VR Showcase will have some games for us to check out when it airs live next week. Generally, the Upload VR Showcase is pretty good. There's always plenty of titles and new games announced. It just also tends to have a fair amount of fluff and some mediocre games like What the Bat. Regardless, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I'll have a recap of the best looking titles in next week's news. But let's move on to today's main event, which is Apple versus Meta. As it stands right now, these companies truly aren't in competition just yet. Their main products are vastly different and targeting completely different consumer groups. They're both, however, trying to reach the same end goal of making XR the next compute platform. Currently, we have Meta trying to appeal to the mainstream with a low-priced entry-level device, with Apple going the opposite route and trying to push this technology to its absolute max. Now, while most of us scoff at the $3,500 price tag, Apple's contribution here will be significant to the XR industry. Not only is it great for solidifying the true potential for XR, but the industry is also getting a major brand recognizable product. The Apple name carries a ton of weight, and even though I'm not personally an Apple fan, I can't deny that it looks like they've pulled off some true miracles. This is the headset that the Meta Pro wanted to be, but ultimately failed at. Both the hardware and software are not robust enough to provide an AR experience that people actually want to be in. Apple needed to develop a brand new R1 chip to tackle pass-through latency issues. The headset also features an Apple M2 processor, making it just as powerful as a high-end laptop. This gave Apple the power to create an operating system that feels both natural and intuitive. The overall feel cannot be understated when it comes to VR or AR. Anything such as stutters, jitter, or non-responsiveness not only breaks the overall immersion, but can feel quite frustrating or maybe even nausea-inducing. So it appears Apple has resolved all of these issues, but it all came with a significant price tag. Going forward, you can expect Apple to lower the price on their next generation version, and I wouldn't be surprised if they move into Meta's turf and start releasing some VR games. The headset does, after all, have full Unity support, which is one of the most popular VR game engines, and Rec Room has already been announced as an Apple Vision Pro title. How they'll handle the overall controls is yet to be seen, but I definitely look forward to whatever solution they'll come up with. Now, Zuckerberg finally responded to the Apple Vision Pro release, and it seemed like he was trying to diminish their achievements. He discussed how the announcement of this headset was validation for all of Meta's hard work, how they didn't come up with any magic solutions, and seem to be facing all the same issues surrounding this technology. Now, if that was indeed the case, and the main issue still facing the XR industry was how costly this technology actually is, well then Meta should have known that the Quest Pro wasn't going to cut it, and was basically a half measure. The $500 Quest 3 is already set to outperform the Quest Pro, and Meta just didn't make the proper hardware or software upgrades for the Quest Pro to be a viable AR device. By contrast, Apple was able to make their entire ecosystem of apps both useful and intuitive on the Apple Vision Pro, with a combination of voice, eye tracking, and hand-based gestures. At least that's what they're claiming right now, but third parties that have tried this device do tend to agree. Either way, this is absolutely great for the overall XR industry because two major companies have absolutely separate approaches, which will eventually lead to better products for all of us. Apple starting by going top down, producing an amazing product that's over the top with an extreme amount of functionality, but with a price tag to match. We shouldn't expect it to sell well, but it will validate XR to a whole new group of people. And on the other hand, Meta is doing their best to make XR affordable for everyone. They're trying to do a lot for very little, and they're making some great progress. So it's only a matter of time before everything we love about XR gets better and better, or maybe I'm just being a bit too optimistic here. Let me know what you think down in the comments right now. Will the Apple Vision Pro have a big impact on the industry? Do you prefer Apple's or Meta's approach? And if the price tag didn't matter, which device would you prefer? The Apple Vision Pro or the Quest 3?
And that was today's video, brought to you by my dad, Mateo311. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here,
Consider subscribing.
consider
subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
Consider subscribing.
We'll see you guys on next time.
We'll see you guys on next time.